is making housing more affordable.
Yes, that's Christia Freeland and my wife Nito. We were invited by Prime Minister of Canada's office to go to Edmonton to an undisclosed location on a short notice. We had to figure out something with the kids, and I want to say thank you, Shimon, for taking care of the kids while we had to go there because we didn't even know where we are going. We had to meet the office people of the Prime Minister of Canada and talk to Chrystia Freeland in person, and she blew my mind. She spoke Russian and she spoke Ukrainian as well. That was what blew my mind. We literally make her speak other languages. And more interestingly, in this video, what I want you guys to notice is that all of the stuff that you're about to see was covered yesterday by the media. But I want you to see the difference, because in this video you're going to see behind the scenes of what actually is going on with the government of Canada. Because I was honestly a little bit disappointed by the presentation of our political figures on the traditional media. The narrative and how things are looking through the camera is different. So what is actually happening out there? We had to go there. We had a short notice. We didn't know where we were going. They didn't tell us where to go, probably for security purposes, of course, but we were blown away.
So we are here kind of to see what exactly has been finished in terms of affordable housing. This is like the first project that they have. They have many more projects that's coming up. But this is where the minister is coming up and saying what exactly has been come to fruits with their help, with their funding, and with the funding of a developer. So these lands have been taken by these builders, and with the help of federal funding, they have converted those lands, which was basically retail that was before. I think it was McDonald's, right?
It was a burned down McDonald's
It
in
was a
this area,
burned down McDonald's.
and now it is a place for extremely affordable properties,
Where
affordable for tenants.
Right, and exactly, and where rent is cheaper. Can you imagine paying rent less than $1,000 with so many amenities? There was a gym back there. We have the community garden here. There is
And
a
guys, by the way, that's
party place. Can you imagine a party place on the third floor?
guys, by the way, that's a deputy prime minister right behind us right now, and we were invited as social media people. Besides all the media people who are here, I think we're the only ones who are social media people, yeah? Or is there one more person?
I'm not
I don't
really
know,
sure.
guys. But anyways, it's an honor to be here. Well, we were just waiting for the press conference to begin, waiting for everyone to get into the room. All the media, all the cameras are here, and everyone is getting ready for the new budget announcement.
Okay, well, thank you all very much for being here today. My name is Nick Lilly. I'm the CEO of HomeEd, the City of Edmonton Nonprofit Housing Corporation. And as the owner and operator of this facility, we're very pleased to play host to this wonderful group who's come here today to celebrate, I think, the success of this development, but also to look ahead to how we can continue to build affordable homes across this country. And so with that, I'm going to hand it over to Deputy Prime Minister to speak and provide some remarks.
Okay. No, it's okay. Thank you. I am not all that tall. Thank you very much, Nick. Good afternoon. I'd like to start by acknowledging that we're gathered here today on Treaty 6 territory in Métis Nation of Alberta Region 4. I am so glad to be here today in Edmonton on this beautiful sunny day with a great group of Edmontonians who are making this wonderful city, this amazing province even better. I'm glad to be here with my friend and colleague, Mr. Randy Boissonneau. We gave him a Ukrainian name earlier today, which I can talk about later if you would like. And also my friend, Edmonton's great mayor, Amarjeet Sohi, I'm really glad to be here and to have talked with Graham from the AirShare Group. They are the people who built this great building. And with Nick and his team from HomeEd, they are the people who run it. It has really been exciting and inspiring to see the work that the team of people who are here with me have been doing here at the Rundle. This is a beautiful new apartment building. Look how nice this room is that the people who live here can hang out in, can rent if they want to have a party with their family and friends. Right here in the heart of Edmonton's Beverly District. These new purpose-built rental homes are exactly the type of housing we need more of in Edmonton, in Alberta, across Canada. And that is what I'm here to talk about today. Aujourd'hui, nous vivons à une époque charnière et nous avons une planche pour aider chaque génération de Canadiennes et de Canadiens à réussir. Parce que aujourd'hui, beaucoup de jeunes Canadiennes et Canadiens ont l'impression qu'ils sont au pied du mur. Ils peuvent obtenir un bon emploi et travailler fort, mais trop souvent, ces efforts ne sont pas récompensés. Ce que plusieurs parents et grands-parents ont, comme le confort et la sécurité, nous le voulons pour nos enfants et nos petits-enfants. Nous voulons que leur travail acharné soit récompensé, comme il l'a été pour nous. And that is why we are acting now to build a Canada that works for younger Canadians, a Canada where they can get ahead and where their hard work pays off. First, we are going to turbocharge the construction of new homes across the country. Second, we're going to help make life cost less. And third, we are going to grow the economy in a way that works for everyone. One of the biggest pressures on young people across Canada right now is housing. And this is particularly true for people who rent. We owe it to younger Canadians to get more homes built right now. In order to do this at the speed and scale that's needed, we need to create the right incentives to get builders like Graham, who is here, building more. And that is where our apartment construction loan program comes in. By providing low-cost financing, the apartment construction loan program is an essential source of support to get new rental homes built right across the country. We topped that program up with $15 billion in the fall economic statement because this is a program that makes the math work for builders like Graham and his team who built these great apartment buildings. And that's why I am so pleased to announce that in the upcoming federal budget, we're going to top up the apartment construction loan program with a further $15 billion. That's going to bring the program's total to more than $55 billion in funding. This new funding is going to help build 30,000 more new apartments across Canada. And with this top-up, by 2031-32, more than 131,000 new apartments will be supported by this financing program. Now, to make the program work even better, we're introducing some reforms to the way the apartment construction loan program operates. Earlier this year, we announced that we would be expanding low-cost loans to build more student housing on and off campus. We're adding to that today. We're going to expand low-cost loans to build more housing for seniors. We're going to give builders more time to pay back their loans, and you guys can talk to Graham to find out how valuable that is for them. We're going to allow builders to apply for several projects at once. We're going to provide more flexibility on affordability, energy efficiency, and accessibility requirements. And we are launching a new frequent builder stream to speed up the application process for proven builders. I have been across the country at great apartments like this one, and I want to assure Nick and Graham and their teams, this is one of the nicest ones I've seen, but there are purpose-built rental units like this being built across the country. And when I talk to the builders behind them, they're really enthusiastic about what they're doing. I have been talking to wonderful people who love their jobs, who are good at them, and are really filled with purpose. They love the idea of building nice, safe places that Canadians can afford to rent. And so those builders who are so excited about what they're doing, we want to help them build even more apartments. This flexibility is a big deal. Speaking earlier today with Graham and his team, he talked about some of the specific things that they worked with CMHC on to make the loans that went into the building of these apartments a little more flexible to make it possible to build them. And he talked about some new projects he's working on. We really understand that we need to listen to the people who are building urban built rental across the country to help them so that we can get more homes built. You can see the amazing results of the apartment construction loan program right here. This development got financing from the apartment construction loan program in 2021. And today, this is a thriving community that's home to 200 people right here in Edmonton. As I said right at the start, we need more homes like this across Edmonton, across Alberta, across Canada. And our government is determined to get more of them built faster. We also know that there is no single player who can fill Canada's housing shortage on his or her own. We need to take a Team Canada approach to getting this work done for Canadians. And that means all of us working together, pulling every single lever at our disposal to get more homes built. It means exactly what we're seeing here, which is private sector, not for profit, federal government, municipal government, all working together to get great, affordable apartments built. That is why we are also announcing today that we're making funding through the Apartment Construction Loan Program available to provinces and territories that launch their own ambitious housing plans through an initiative called Canada Builds. Canada Builds is inspired by the federal government's collaboration with BC on British Columbia's BC Builds program. Here's how that partnership with BC works. In February, the Prime Minister announced that our government is working with Premier Eby and the government of BC to build a minimum of 8,000 to 10,000 new homes through BC's BC Builds initiative. The federal government is providing $2 billion in loans for this initiative through the Apartment Construction Loan Program. That's a significant contribution, which BC is matching with its own $2 billion in low-cost financing. Together, we're going to get more homes built faster in BC. That partnership with BC through BC Builds is a great example of two levels of government working together to deliver more housing for Canadians. And we want to do it across the country. We are keen to take the same ambitious, collaborative approach to all provinces and territories across Canada. In order to get federal funding, provinces and territories will need to meet the benchmark set by our partnership with BC Builds and deliver action to get even more homes built faster. This includes matching the federal government's investing, making use of public and community land to build new homes, and speeding up development approval timelines. What we want and what we need is a true Team Canada effort, the kind of bold solution our country needs to meet our housing challenge so that we can unlock fairness for every generation. And over the coming days, and in the budget that I'll table later this month, we will launch more of our no holds barred plan to wrestle down the cost of owning for renting a home. To make real the promise of Canada for younger Canadians, we will pull every lever and push every button to deliver more housing faster. Aujourd'hui, notre nouvel objectif est de tracer une chemin vers la classe moyenne pour des millions de jeunes Canadiennes et Canadiens. Dans tout ce que nous faisons, nous voulons qu'une vie meilleure soit à la portée de nos jeunes générations. Parce que c'est ce que vous méritez. Et c'est aussi ce que vos parents et vos grands-parents souhaitent pour vous. Thank you very much. I can eat. Oh. I'll just go. Yeah.
Well, thank you, everybody, for being here today. Nick, thank you for hosting. Graham, thanks for building such a great building. Mayor Sohi, my friend, thank you for joining us here. And look, I got to say, I too want to echo that we're on Treaty 6 territory and the homelands of Métis Nation Region 4. But I also want to say, you know, it's a great day when we get to have my friend and colleague in cabinet, the Deputy Prime Minister, Minister of Finance, Chrystia Freeland. Chrystia, here with us, a daughter of Alberta and a dynamo when it comes from everything from childcare to the announcements you're seeing us announce from coast to coast to coast pre-budget. And in just under 2 weeks, we're going to get the whole enchilada of the budget. But today we're here to talk about housing. And
for the full pierogi.
And the full pierogi. We were making pierogies today. We were making varenike. I made my first pierogies ever today, cheddar and potato, and they were really good. I even had borscht, and it was very good as well. And, you know, look, this is the kind of place where you can make your own pierogies because you got a place to call home. Chrystia and I met Corey earlier today, just coming into the building. Never met her before. She saw Chris. She goes, I know who you are. And then I introduced myself. She goes, I know who you are too. Your name is Randy. And Corey's here watching this announcement now because this is her home. And there she is right there. And this is the kind of place that when you have leadership from the federal government, city partners, builders like Graham, who know how to access capital, who find the right amount of loans, who deploy that capital. Yeah, we've got 200 units here, well over 200 people making their home here. And I got to say, because Graham said it earlier, without the federal loan program, this building would not have existed. He wouldn't have been able to invest. And so that federal initiative, our federal apartment construction loan program, is the difference between this building being here, between Corey living here and not. And so that is leadership. And now my team's wondering, where is he going with his remarks? But let me tell you what we've been doing from coast to coast to coast. We're rolling out Budget 24. And I can say that we kicked things off on Monday by launching Canada's first ever national school foods program, which commits $1 billion to help 400,000 more kids get healthy meals at school. Yesterday, I was in Calgary announcing some of the next steps in our Budget 24, $6 billion for infrastructure funding to enable the building of new communities across the country, things that mayors across the country have been asking us for. And Chrystia, yesterday I met with Build Calgary, who are all too eager to make sure that their capital, their investments go to building as part of Team Canada, the 3.5 million homes we need to see over the next 10 years. And if you factor in the great success of the Housing Accelerator Fund, we committed over $400 million more to that program to incentivize housing construction across the country. Because as Chrystia said, and as we're feeling, it's one of the biggest pressures that people are facing right now. And we know for far too many Canadians, it doesn't seem possible to do as well as their parents. Nous savons que pour de nombreuses jeunes Canadiennes, il ne paraît pas possible de faire aussi bien que leurs parents. Saving enough to chase their dreams is getting hard instead of easier. Housing options are limited, rents are high, and pardon the pun, but home prices are through the roof. But it doesn't have to be this way. Everyone deserves a fair shot at success. Pourtant, il n'y a pas besoin ou raison qu'il en soit ainsi. Tout le monde mérite une chance équitable de réussir. And that's why we've been putting the pedal to the metal to speed up the construction of rental housing by providing low-cost financing to builders and developers. In fact, since we formed government, the federal government's apartment construction loan program has earmarked over $18 billion in loans to support more than 48,000 new rental homes, with over 101,000 new homes expected by 2031-32. And last March, we launched the Housing Accelerator Fund to turbocharge new builds. I'll give you an example because, look, I can tell you there's a number of times when Mayor Sohi sees me and he says, "Where's the checkbook?" And so we signed up and the checkbook was there and there was a signature on the check, $175 million agreement with the city of Edmonton to fast track 5,200 units and turning into 22,000 units over the next 10 years. Now I'm going to go in a different direction for a few minutes, actually about 30 seconds. It is simply wrong that Pierre Poilievre and his conservative MPs voted against this program. Voted against the very program that would see people living right in this building. We're going to do the right thing as Liberal MPs, as a Liberal government, and we're going to work with provinces and territories and municipalities to build stronger communities through initiatives such as the Canada Community Building Fund and our Investing in Canada program. Folks, today's announcement marks another step in making life more affordable and more fair for every generation. L'annonce d'aujourd'hui continue les investissements de le gouvernement afin de rendre la vie plus abordable et plus équitable pour toutes les générations. That is and continues to be our focus, and we're going to continue to provide solutions and step in to help our neighbors because it's the right thing to do. Thank you. Merci. Hi. I'm going to turn the podium back over to Nick.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for both of your remarks. And it's my privilege also to introduce Mayor Sohi, who has been an extreme advocate for affordable housing within the city, has done so well as both a shareholder of HomeEd and also as our mayor and leader of city council to ensure that affordable homes are being developed and well maintained, which is core to what HomeEd does. So, Mayor Sohi.
Well, thank you, Nick. I first of all want to take a moment to welcome Deputy Prime Minister Chrystia Freeland to Edmonton, to Treaty 6 territory, as well as the Métis homeland and the home of Métis Nation of Alberta. Last year, City of Edmonton completed our housing need assessment. 49,000 Edmonton households are living in poor housing need. That means 1 in 8 households are paying more than what they can afford to shelter themselves. When you dig deeper into that data, 1 in 4 renters are paying more what they can afford. So they're making choices to shelter themselves or buy groceries or send their kids to programs. So this program being announced today by Deputy Prime Minister and my good friend Randy Bosno is going to help those people. It's going to help reduce their day-to-day living costs and make life affordable for them. It is so important that such a program is being built and topped up on what was already have been done. Unfortunately, in Edmonton, we have also seen a significant spike in the number of people who are experiencing houselessness in our city. Houselessness has doubled over the last 2 years. And that is why we declared that housing and houselessness an emergency in Edmonton. And that's why it's so important that all levels of part of the government work together along with private sector and non-profit sector to help us close the housing gap and end the housing emergency in our city. So this announcement is a very good example of the kind of collaboration we need. As vacancy rates continue to decline sharply, and less new purpose-built rentals are being constructed, we must do everything we can to keep up with housing momentum. Programs like this will help us increase purpose-built rental supply at a time when we need it the most, including housing focused on students and seniors. And Edmonton has the highest, Randy knows this, but we have the highest number of student population. And we also have a growing population of seniors, particularly seniors who are living on fixed income and low income. And they need a program like this where their cost of rent can be reduced. Edmonton has been a leader. I am so proud that Edmonton has been a leader when it comes to removing barriers to housing. We were the first municipality to eliminate minimum parking requirements. And last year, we made transformed changes where we overhauled our zoning bylaw regulations, allowing missing middle, that is part of this program, or the other program, where we should be able to, people should be able to build up to 8 units on a block that they were only able to build a single family home to increase the diversity and supply of housing. And this announcement or other announcement from the federal government, we welcome federal government challenging municipalities to remove the barriers to housing and work in a collaborative way in unlocking and maximizing the federal dollars with provincial dollars and municipal dollars and private sector and nonprofit dollars to build more housing as quickly as possible so that we can make a difference in the lives of Edmontonis who struggle to pay for the high cost of housing. So thank you so much, Christia, for the great announcement, and Randy, your leadership and the folks at the back who were there. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thanks again to Deputy Prime Minister and Minister for being here today and sharing this wonderful news. And as owner-operator of affordable housing, we are overjoyed by the prospect that this provides. We look forward to ensuring that more and more people have affordable homes that they love, and that we'll continue to see that growth coming in spades going forward. Great. Thank you.
Okay. I think thank you. Right. Okay, so now we'll start the media portion of the event. It'll be one talk and one follow-up. There is a microphone survey for journalists interested. Please veuillez votre outlet. Donc, on va les questions. Vous faites une question et une question suivie. Veuillez noter votre nom et votre méthode. Il y a un micro juste pour les journalistes intéressés. Merci.
Hi, it's Janet French from the CBC. Questions are for WPM. And if you could answer in English and French, I'd be much obliged. So the Alberta government is taking umbrage with your approach to funding these kinds of housing projects. They're saying that you're not consulting the provinces on the design of the programs, that the strings attached are going to make it harder to build and more expensive to build. They're saying that you're playing politics with housing, and they're saying that there's no measures to ensure that the funding is distributed fairly, like per capita, evenly across Canada. So I'm wondering how you respond to some of these concerns.
Well, there's a lot of concerns you got in there, Janet. So it was Janet, right? Yeah. So let me take a first shot at it. Where I want to start is by recognizing that we have a real housing crisis. We've just heard from Amarjeet about the housing crisis in Edmonton, and I hear the same thing everywhere I go across the country, from coast to coast to coast. Canadians have an entirely reasonable expectation that when we have a national problem of this magnitude, the federal government has to respond. We have to be there. We have to be playing a central role. Now, we recognize that we cannot do it on our own. We recognize that for Canada to meet our housing challenge, we need everybody working together. We need the federal government, we need provinces and territories, we need municipalities, we need the private sector, we need the public sector. We all have to do this together. But we as a federal government know we have to be there playing a central role. Now, to the question of conditionality, we also recognize that we as a country can't just keep on going the way we have been on housing. There is a reason we haven't been getting enough homes built fast enough. And a big part of that reason is red tape. It is the kinds of issues that Amarjeet was mentioning. It is the fact that it has been too hard to get gentle density built in our municipalities. it is parking requirements, which can add $50,000, $100,000 to the cost of apartments across the country. So we recognize there is a crisis, and we recognize that means we have to do things differently, and we are absolutely committed to driving that change. Now, we believe in doing it collaboratively. We believe in working with municipalities. We believe in working with provinces. And the Canada Builds program that I announced today is inspired by exactly that. We came up with it because we have such a great collaboration with BC on BC Builds. So, I am an optimist. I'm especially an optimist about Canada, about our collective ability as a country to identify what are our big challenges and to rally around working together to address them. I am absolutely convinced that housing is one of our country's central challenges. And that is why, at the end of the day, I am optimistic. We're going to find ways from coast to coast to coast to work together to meet the housing challenge. And I'm going to give you one specific example. Après ça en français, mais and the specific example is early learning and childcare. When we announced our intention to build a national program of early learning and childcare, the response was positive and enthusiastic, but also extremely skeptical. I cannot tell you how many interviews I did where, the smart reporter would say, well, it's a great idea, but it's never going to happen. And yet we now have agreements on early learning and childcare with every single province and territory. We are getting childcare down to $10 a day in many, many parts of the country, and it is at least 50% less expensive than it was when we started. There's a lot more work to do, but we're all collectively committed to doing it. So I am optimistic that we are all going to recognize what Canadians know, that we have to get more homes built faster, and they know we have to do it together. Et en français très vite, on comprend, tous les Canadiens canadiens, qu'il y a une crise de logement au Canada. Et les Canadiens sont convaincus que quand il y a une crise nationale, c'est la responsabilité du fédéral de jouer un rôle clé dans la solution, dans les solutions de cette crise. Et c'est ce qu'on est en train de faire. Évidemment, on comprend que le fédéral ne pourra pas, ne devra pas essayer de le faire tout seul. C'est un enjeu qui a besoin d'une collaboration, d'une approche d'équipe Canada, de collaboration du fédéral, des provinces, des municipalités, du secteur privé, du secteur à but non lucratif. Nous tous devons travailler ensemble et je suis convaincue qu'on trouvera une façon de le faire.
That's from there. So I'm curious how concerned you are that some of these strings attached to these federal programs, not just what we saw now today, but also yesterday. I have to look up the names again, with the home building programs, with the provincial government pushing back so hard, saying we don't want to accept these conditions. How concerned are you that this risks potential funding for city government?
So I really can't speak to the concerns raised by the province, but I can speak from a practical point of view as a municipality that we have been very progressive in removing barriers to construction and building more housing. And we have been actually recognized by the province of Alberta as well as private sector how we have removed so many barriers and red tape, and it's so easy to actually build homes in the city of Edmonton. I would say we've been actually on a disadvantage in a way that we have removed so many barriers to housing that we actually receive less money because all those involved barriers that federal government is pushing other municipality to remove and incentivize them to remove, we have already removed them, right? So I think there's got to be recognition of that. But I firmly believe that building more housing is a collective responsibility, and each of us need to do our own part. And the tools that are available to the municipality are zoning tools, regulatory tools, and they can be a barrier or they can be enabler. And we are actually enabling. So I welcome further conversation in how we can work together, what additional barriers we can remove as a municipality to unlock more housing, affordable housing, particularly non-market housing, actually more particularly, because that's where our challenges are. Market affordability in Edmonton is reasonable compared to other municipalities, where we have the lowest amount of non-market housing in Edmonton. So we welcome any whichever way we can to leverage the federal incentives, provincial incentives, and we will always be there to work with them to further remove barriers for construction and renewable homes.
For example, for the Canada Housing
All right,
Infrastructure
sorry,
Fund.
it's one question, one follow-up. I'm so sorry.
I'm not going to say whether we're going to have 3 people responding to every question, but Janet, I just wanted to make clear that Mayor Sohi, myself, Minister Fraser, Minister Nixon, and Grand Chief Cody Thomas met just over a month ago about housing, about collaborating, about making sure that we have robust agreements between federal government, the Alberta government, and we were very clear and we scrummed afterwards and we said it then, and we'll say it now, if Alberta wants a similar deal to what Quebec had or what is on the table, what we've done in British Columbia, we're ready to play ball. We will fund up to the dollar what Alberta wants to put it onto the table in terms of housing. The Minister Fraser has been clear about that. We were in the same meeting. We also will continue to do more in the Indigenous housing space. Et en français, je pense que c'est très important de noter qu'on a eu une rencontre très fructueuse avec Minister Nixon, Ministre Fraser, le maire Sohi et le grand chef Cody Thomas pour parler de cette question du fait que le gouvernement fédéral est prêt à travailler étroitement avec la province de l'Alberta. On peut avoir le même entente qu'on a avec le Québec et aussi avec la Colombie-Britannique si l'Alberta le veut. And if we take an example of this particular building, 248 units, of which 12% of them are 3-bedroom apartments. That is a transformative move that Graham was able to do because of the federal loan financing, tilted the design of this building to family-oriented development. That's what we need to see across the country so that we have gentle density and that we're actually honoring the makeup of the modern Canadian family.
Next question. Question, question. Okay, that concludes today's press conference. Merci. Thank you. Okay.
Thanks. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you. Great tour.
Туди вже тут більше як 10 років.
Так,
І як вам подобається?
приїхав як міжнародний студент. Я в моєму городі ми розмовляємо російською мовою.
Говорю на русском.
На русском говорите
да,
тоже?
Как вы хотите. И вы на каком факультете учились?
Я учился на бизнес-управлении еще в Харькове, но в Канаде учился Global Business Management Centennial College. И как раз встретил свою жену там. Она была международным студентом из Индии.
It's Canada right here.
Yeah, okay, Christian, very nice to
Nitu,
meet you.
nice
What's
to
your
meet you.
name?
Nitu.
Nitu?
Nitu.
Nitu and Igor.
Igor,
Wonderful.
yes.
Yeah. Well, it's so nice to see
After
you
that, we
here.
moved to Alberta for immigration purposes, but then we stayed.
Yeah, we
it's
stayed
a
here.
wonderful
It's been 12 years here.
This is where I'm from originally.
Yeah,
I'm
we
from
know.
Peace River in Edmonton. So this is my favorite, don't say, because I'm an MP for Toronto, but this is my favorite part of Canada.
Nice. So you like Edmonton more than Calgary?
Yes, much more. Because I'm from Northern Alberta. I have Northern Alberta pride.
I honestly had no idea you speak Ukrainian and
And
Russian
that's
and French.
perfectly without accent.
I think I have a little bit of an accent. I think Igor would say he can tell I'm not.
A little
born
bit,
in-
yeah. I have a problem with Ukrainian too because I studied in Ukrainian school, then I went to Middle East and I studied in American school, then I came back to Ukrainian, graduated from Ukrainian school, and then I went to a Russian-speaking university, so everything got mixed up like
But
that.
you spoke both very well.
Oh, thank you. Дякую.
Будь ласка.
Quick observational summary. Do not trust what you see on the TV. Guys, I want to say that, first of all, I am not associated or affiliated with the Liberal government or Liberal Party of Canada, and I am not working with or a member or of anything of Conservative Party. I am not into Canadian politics at all. I was there just because my wife got an email, an invitation to be there as social media people, just to have a different perspective. And unfortunately, there were not many social media people. We were the only two at that event, and everyone else was traditional media. I want to guys say that it's horrible. It's actually pretty horrible what you see on traditional media. They are managing to present information and to twist that information into a certain narrative through a lens and change the same information but present it in such a way so that it would serve some kind of political goal. Some of you would call it censorship, some of you would call it something else, but I was just looking at the entire thing, and what is media in general? A bunch of guys who know each other, run around with the cameras, following politicians, who don't give a damn. They just work there. They're professionally trained camera people, and that's it. And there was only one reporter asking questions. But I want to say that when I walked into that room, guys, I had because of recent news and all the media coverage, I had a really negative perception of Chrystia Freeland as a Deputy Prime Minister of Canada, how she's covered on the media and how everything is shown to us. But I had a different observation when I spoke to her in person, especially when she started speaking Ukrainian and Russian as well. I have a way better feeling, and reading people who speak my own language, I have a certain way of emotional intelligence of understanding people, especially if they speak your own language. And I was like, wait a second. So I had a different opinion about that person because I only saw her on the TV, showed by the media, from what she actually is. And it appeared to me that she also went and spoke with a couple of ladies who were cleaners, came on Kuwait visa. I don't think media even covered that. And she spoke Ukrainian to them, and she was asking, how are you? She was talking to me in Ukrainian and Russian and talking about things. It was really a different perspective, almost like a different person, a way better person than you see on the TV. I was like, you know what? If the media didn't cover that person the way they cover, and they covered more, this person might have been even more popular in Alberta than she is right now, honestly, because a lot of people in Alberta are conservative. So I was really surprised by one thing, guys. Let's not talk about politics. Let's not say liberals or conservatives. Let's not go into politics. Let me just say this. I was really surprised by the fact that the media in Canada is able to twist the narrative and show a perspective of something that they want to show, that's going to get them views, and not show the entire picture. And I thought that's what the media is for. And honestly, maybe some people could call it censorship or something like that. But who is controlling this? Who wants to show it? I don't know, guys. My guess is just virality and trying to cover the news that would get them more viral articles instead of covering the entire picture. But what they didn't show yesterday on some channels is that how she went through different places, how she talked to different people, and how they showed the project that they have completed based on that federal funding and all of these kind of things. And they only showed the entire presentation. So I just want to say, guys, there has to be more social media involved into media for the media to be accurate and hold them accountable, because I think that the media forgot how to be media and they became so commercialized in virality of the content that they are more focused on delivering something that's going to make them more money than the news that matter. Thank you so much for watching, guys. See you in the next video.